Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is Pastor to Pastor. Got another piece of advice I'd like to leave with the young pastor today. Don't tell everybody you're a preacher. Don't self-promote. Don't insist people call you reverend or pastor. Be an authentic human being, complete with your faults, your failures. Don't be afraid to admit to church that you're a failure and that you're no better than anyone else. I mean, let's face it, guys and gals. God gives us this wonderful responsibility. Don't exploit it. I made this mistake one time when I was a young pastor. I had just become a youth pastor, and I was driving down the road one time, and I was, oblivious to what was going around me. And so I'm driving down, and I was driving a little bit too fast, and I got pulled over by a policeman. Now, I was really full of myself in those days. I had just received this wonderful commission. I had just become a pastor, and he pulls me over, and he says, your name is so-and-so? I said, yes. He says, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm a pastor. And he looked at me, he says, do you realize you were going 15 miles over the speed limit? I said, yes. He says, what were you doing? I said, I was praying. He said to me very sharply and tersely, he says, just because you're a pastor and just because you're praying, that doesn't mean that you should speed. And it hit me right into the heart. Here I was self-promoting, telling this cop how good I was and the noble thing that I was doing, but in reality, I was breaking the law. And it hit me, and I began to say, you know what, Lord, I don't think I'm going to tell people I'm a pastor. I'm not going to self-promote because I fail. I make mistakes, and so do you. Just because you have the call of God upon your life, that does not make you invincible, I should say, or infallible. You are a flawed human being. God has chosen to give you a gift. God has chosen to give you a calling. But you need to realize that you are just like everybody else. The only difference is the vocation and the calling that you have. God, in His grace and mercy, has given you that calling and that gifting. And it's a wonderful calling and it's a wonderful gifting. But don't exploit it. Don't self-promote. Don't say, look at me, I am the pastor. Don't expect special treatment just because you're the pastor. No. Be authentic, be transparent, be real. In those ways, you don't give the ministry a bad name. Just a little piece of advice. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is Pastor to Pastor.